Madam Secretary, what's the First Amendment?
The First Amendment is Amendment number 13 by Director Leonard, and that is to allocate funds to expand Fairview Elementary School.
Does Director Leonard wish to make any comments?
I do. So first of all, I first of all wanted to just commend, and I'm going to actually thank everyone that's been involved with the process. This was actually a team process, and I want to thank Dr. Posley for actually helping me with the leadership in this to move this forward. So I'm just going to mention some names. I want to thank them publicly. I appreciate the fact that we spent some time really working this out. Dr. Posley, Mr. Galvan, Martha Kreitzman, Sean Kane, Dr. Mann, and Board Governance, and Matt Chasen. It really is when I I found the money that could be used for this. Martha Kreitzman actually helped me with this and with a lot of help to make sure that it was available for Fairview School. I had made this presentation initially a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago, but we shelved that because of various reasons. But what I have found is that I do not want to leave any money sitting on the table with regards to utilizing the funds that have been available to us through ESSER, and really just this last week being told that there was about $60 million that was not spent from even this year's budget. Fairview School is by far overpacked. They are not meeting the expectations of the regional development plan. Today I was there just recounting the numbers of students in classrooms. We are definitely exceeding any kind of fair numbers. The sixth grades alone are, I believe, 36 students plus in each classroom. So this expansion of their school would make a significant difference. The money will be spent wisely and effectively. It will not be an opportunity we ever get again. That is without question. So I am asking my colleagues to support the action to definitely expand Fairview School and make sure we get those classroom sizes the right way. This also includes the building of a gym, because when I talked to Mr. Sullivan from Fairview, and he went over the gym is very small, the current one, and with a middle school this size, that gym has become highly ineffective. We would have to, I don't even know how we could safely keep classes going on in there. So this expansion would include both a gym and a new 7th and 8th grade building. There's no question that the community would support the expansion. They would also easily be able to afford filling those spaces in there. He's, I believe, 5 or 6 students per classroom, greater than what they have capacity for now. And I really think it's higher than that. Mr. Sullivan told me today that he feels like they could easily rebuild a whole new school there and fill it up at this point in time. We've had about a 4% increase in population in that neighborhood, and they are definitely applying to go to Fairview School. I guess I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Director Leonard, could you just make a motion for this so we can continue the discussion? Could you?
Sure. I might need help with the motion, excuse me. I move that we discuss the expansion program.
Approve the amendment.
Approve the amendment. I'm sorry, we're way past where I am. I apologize. I move that we approve the amendment for the expansion of the Fairview School.
So noted.
Okay. Administration, would you care to comment?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
we do need a second on that motion for
Okay.
discussion.
Could I have a second? Director Taylor has seconded it.
Thank you.
Administration.
Good evening, President Peterson and members of the board. Keith Posley, Superintendent of Schools. Amendment number 13 is in regards to an addition to Fairview School. The administration recommends putting funding towards this project. In addition, the administration would like the opportunity to bring back a plan allowing for updates to additional schools on the north side of Milwaukee no later than December 2022. I will now turn it over to Martha Kreitzman, Chief Financial Officer, for other comments. Martha.
Thank you, Dr. Posley. President Peterson and members of the board, Martha Kreitzman, Chief Financial Officer. The cost of the addition to Fairview School is estimated at $8.7 million. This would be in addition to the already approved renovation cost for Fairview of $1.5 million. Fairview capacity is 479 and serves about 648 students. The administration recommends putting $7 million aside from ESSER 3 capital funds for the Fairview building addition. If additional funds are needed, they would be raised by the school community. In addition, the administration is recommending that another item be brought forward by December 2022 for updates to additional schools on the north side of Milwaukee.
Does any member of our committee wish to make comments or ask questions? Dr. Taylor.
Thank you for that. My question was already answered by administration because being in the district, just looking forward to seeing the update from the schools on the north side in December. So thank you guys for thinking of that beforehand. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other comments or questions? Yes, Dr. O'Halloran.
Thank you. I just want to understand. So is this 7 million in addition to the 1.5 that was previously set aside, or is this 8.7 in addition to the 1.5?
Administration.
Director Peterson, President Peterson, Director O'Halloran, Martha Kreitzman, Chief Financial Officer. The $8.7 million is the estimate for the cost of the addition, being 4 classrooms and a gymnasium. And we're recommending $7 million be put aside. $1.5 million was already approved by the board back in February for some of the facility updates that other schools received also. So the $7 million is in addition to the $1.5 million.
Thank you for that, or
Sure. Okay.
thank you for that clarification. And I do want to point out that 38 is a lot, and the 6th grade class at Cooper currently has 46. And that is one class that gets shifted around, and they're making it work. And I'm not saying that that Fairview doesn't deserve this, but I think that understanding some of our enrollment patterns would be helpful with making some of these decisions, because I think some schools would benefit from a second look as well. And I'm glad that it's happening on the north side. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'm happy to support this amendment.
Thank you. Other comments? Dr. Gokul Gandhi.
I would request that the administration also bring back, when you bring back the, potential totals for other schools, just a list, kind of to Director O'Halloran's point, of what the enrollment is looking like at our schools and what average class sizes are looking like, so we can get a comparison of just all the schools in total and make some informed decisions.
Administration. Do you want?
President Peterson and members of the board, the administration will be happy to do just that. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments from the committee? Yes, Dr. Herndon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I too would like to know, because I met with some staff on last week with one of my high schools, and they're talking 40 students in a class or more, and that's just not effective as well. And so I'd like to see some report that would contain data for high schools in particular, because I would expect that 40 high school students or more in a class is far too many. Thank you.
Administration.
President Peterson and members of the board, we would be happy to get that to you. Actually, I will have the team working on that and hopefully have this to you prior to the full board meeting, just for your information.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Chair, before calling the roll on the motion, given that the amendment is allocating, another $8 million in addition to the 1.5, I think there needs to be some clarity, because it looks like this budget amendment is amending what is already allocated in the school and outlined in the budget to include an additional $8 million. So I understand what the conversation is, so I just want to provide some clarity in the motion. Given that the 1.5 is already allocated and included in the budget, the amendment would be to add an additional $7 million to the Fairview expansion.
Administration, is that your understanding as well?
Chair, or President Peterson, members of the board, Dr. Mann, Martha Kreitzman, Chief Financial Officer. The amendment as provided, if we use the cost, would be 8.7 million. If we do the administration's recommendation, it would be 7 million. The 1.5 is separate and is not part of this.
But so the 1.5 is repairing other things in the school administration?
Correct.
President Peterson and members of the board, the idea with the 1.5 additionally was to do some things within the school. And the administration is looking at that 1.5 to be added with the 7 that we are recommending to be a grand total 8.5 towards that addition, because that addition will cover all the other issues pretty much that was created, has been created with the large enrollment at that particular campus.
Okay. Madam Secretary, is that clear?
Mr. Chair, so the budget amendment before you, if we're following Director Leonard's recommendation to approve the budget amendment, would allocate 8.7 million to Fairview. The administration is recommending 7 million. So I just wanted clarity from the administration and the author on what the board is going to be asked to vote on tonight.
So it's 7 million. The 1.5 has already been set aside. So if I'm understanding it correctly, we are really asking for $7 million more dollars to do the actual expansion. Do I understand that correctly?
Administration.
Chair Peterson, members of the committee, that is correct.
Mr. Chair, that changes the motion. So the motion would not be, if I'm understanding the conversation, would not be to approve Director Leonard's budget amendment, but to approve the administration's recommendation relative to amendment number 13, which allocates another $7 million to the project.
Okay, so what I'll ask the maker of the amendment and a motion and the seconder to, if you can withdraw what you did originally, and then we'll make that over again. Okay.
Yeah, I make a motion to withdraw that part of the amendment and then just go to do it the right way, I guess. Put the right numbers in there.
Okay, and the second agrees?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't you make the motion again for 7 million?
Mr.
Okay.
Chair, I have the clarity. I have the motion adjusted to what the conversation is, which is to move approval of amendment number 13 as recommended by the administration for an additional $7 million to the Fairview expansion project.
Sounds good. Can you say ditto?
Ditto. Thank you.
Second, yes, and it's seconded by Director Taylor. Okay. Any further comments? Yes, Director Kulkarni.
And I also just want to reiterate, it's really great that Director Leonard is going to bat for his schools, but I think this is what happens in the absence of a strategic plan that looks equitably across the district at enrollment patterns, at where kids are going to school. We should have done this really last year when we were planning for ESSER, and it does feel a little bit frustrating that now at the end of the year, we're playing catch up to see what can or can't happen. And so I know we're going to talk about the strategic plan today, but I cannot stress the importance of having that plan in place sooner rather than later, because I don't want to be at a meeting where, we're all sitting around saying, well, why didn't I go to bat for a school in my district to put an amendment forward today? that puts all of us sort of at odds, and it doesn't show sort of a united front and give each of our students sort of the attention that they deserve. So when you bring that report back, I just really hope that we can have a comprehensive understanding of what schools need what and how we can move forward with equity in mind.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
On Director Leonard's motion, seconded by Vice President Taylor, which moves approval of amendment number 13 as recommended by the administration for an additional $7 million to be allocated to the Fairview Building Expansion Project. On the motion as read into the record, Director Gokul Gandhi,
Aye.
Director Herndon,
Aye.
Director Leonard,
Aye.
Director O'Halloran,
Aye.
Director Simpson.
Aye.
Vice President Taylor.
Aye.
And President Peterson.
Aye.
That's 7 ayes, the motion passes.